Hard as it may be to imagine from our current vantage point, there was a time not that long ago when it seemed even to experts on the subject as though racist sentiments were being driven further and further underground. They by no means believed that racism itself was dying out, but rather that the social acceptability of expressing it openly had been decisively defeated. Indeed, experts predicted that the subtlety would be ever increasing. Here's one such prediction from Hurwitz and Peffley. One must wonder if the norm of political correctness and the fear of being accused of racialization have driven racial appeals even further underground, possibly to the point where virtually any presentation of race, in audible or printed narrative or in pictures, has become practically verboten. If so, the racialization of politics will increasingly take place mainly at the level of code words, or words that are fundamentally non-racial in nature, that have, through the process of association, assumed a strong racial component. We may presuppose that modern battles will be far less obvious in nature, and will rely instead on the subtle introduction of strategic words or phrases with racial connotations. It's a bit of an understatement to say that Hurwitz and Peffley's prediction was wrong. It is important to pause and appreciate just what a shift took place between 2005 and 2016. Hurwitz and Peffley predicted that racial appeals would become ever more subtle and underground, and instead we found ourselves with Donald Trump, who launched his campaign with this infamous utterance. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with them. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people. Not much later, Trump announced his desire to ban Muslims, calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what is going on. What happened? How did this fail to doom his campaign? As we have learned, experts were predicting a need for ever more subtle expressions of racism, and things went in entirely the opposite direction. Were the experts always wrong about what one could get away with? Or did something about the country change, making it possible to win elections while being much more openly racist?